I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchanged something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.
What's up? What's up? What's up? And we are back. And today, I'm going to take you way back. Now, when I say take you way back, I want everybody to understand. We all have a gift. We talk about it all the time. And different gifts feeds different parts of other people's lives. There are people that feed you through knowledge, feed you through food. And then there's some individuals that have that musical gift that knows how to say the words you want to hear over a beat that just makes you want to move. It does something to your soul. Well, I have an individual guest today, and when I say he's had his fingerprints on music for years. Now, I'm not going to let any cats out the bag. I'm going to let him do all that for you, because only one person can tell you the truth about what they seen through the industry. So I have to bring on this amazing gentleman, Mr. Gene Groove Allen.
What's up? What's up? What's up, my brother? How you feeling today, baby?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored as always, man. How about you, brother?
I'm doing the same, man. I'm blessed, highly favored, feeling good, feeling positive. I want to say I love your vibe. I love your flow, and I'm excited to be on your show, Real Talk.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule with all the stuff you got going on to even come over here and talk to us and be transparent and tell us about who you are. So before we even get started,
okay,
tell the fans, tell everybody watching, who is Gene Groove Allen?
Well, so let me go back a little bit. Some people might remember me from the movie House Party. I played the drunk. You know, I'm getting those digits. Let me see. Ooh, scandalous. Let me see what else. What else? What else? This right here, this is Diesel, baby. And then I danced and fell out, and you know how that was. And they walked me home, and I fell at the door. So, movie house party. Some might remember me from Uptown MCA, Uptown's Kicking It, my group Groovy Chill. And that has been a culmination of a lot of things that I did in the entertainment business.
Now, before we go any further, because House Party was my movie, especially the scene in the kitchen.
Yeah,
You gotta tell us, one, how do you even get set up to play a role like that? How does that even happen? And how do you get into character to play that individual throughout all the takes that it might have took y'all to get it done?
Well, I will be honest. I don't think a lot of people realize Movie House Party is really about stories that my group, Groovy Chill, had talked to the Hudlin brothers. So let me put in perspective. So we were signed to Uptown MCA. Uptown MCA, Andre Harrell had like almost 2-3 million, these millions of dollars to find specific rap groups that he wanted to put out on the label. It was Heavy D and the Boys, it was Groovy Chill, Finesse and Quest, Woody Rock, DJ Marley Marr, Brothers Black, um, and we were supposed to do this compilation album, and the first video was Uptown's Kicking It and Mr. Big Stuff. And the Hudlin brothers, Reggie and Warrington Hudlin, were hired to shoot the video. So we were shooting in Queens, and I remember, for us, we about business. So the date to meet was we supposed to be there at like maybe let's say 9 o'clock in Queens. So we got there at 7 because one, we want to get the best spots, but more importantly, we about our business. And we sat and talked to these guys, and I remember recently I talked to Warrington Hudlin, and he said what really stood out was when we finished that shoot, we stood around and said, "Hey guys, you want us to help you break stuff down?" And they were talking to us about, well, what do you guys do to make money? And we're DJs. This is what we did. Bilal was the DJ. I was an MC. Darryl was an MC. And we would talk to them for about a year or two. And they said they had this idea about this movie they wanted to do. And we was like, okay, so we'll give you bits and pieces. Well, the drinking, the red lights, the dancing, the music, etc. And we literally started doing like workshops and kind of learning about acting and doing as much as we could and ad-libbing and doing things on the fly. So we got an audition. Disney sent us a letter. They got an audition for this movie because they said, "Hey, we got it. Buying the treatment. We want you to audition for us." So we was excited. Went down, and I'm gonna tell you like this: we killed them. Because you're talking about some guys that have been together literally 5-6 years. So you can throw us anything, throw a curveball, we're gonna get it. We're gonna hit it out the park. And when we finish, like, oh my goodness, you guys are funny. You guys are great. We love you. And so we were sewn. House party. That was us. But we didn't have a hit record. Maybe about 3 weeks later, the Hudlin brothers called and said, "Listen, unfortunately, we can't give you the parts." Because I was supposed to play. Darryl was supposed to play Kid, and our DJ Bilal was supposed to play Martin Lawrence's part. And if you remember the names, and the script was literally I still have the script. Groove was me, I was supposed to play, and Bilal, DJ Bilal, they used Bilal's name for Martin Lawrence. So they said, but we got some roles that we're gonna try best to beef it up. So, to be honest, at that time, you get a little mad. Not I won't say mad, definitely disappointed. And I tell people, the running joke is they made 5 million and we made 5,000, but I'm not bitter. And that's the kind of the story that went through.
So okay, so y'all didn't get the parts, but how did they still say, okay, you can't play Kids, you can't play like, but how do they still say, but we want to integrate you still in this movie because of who y'all are?
They gave us these roles of party goers, but definitely to the point where they wanted to make sure that there was enough meat on that bone. And then they let us do a lot of ad-libbing, a lot of bringing stuff to our heads because, like I said, me and Darryl was throwing stuff like when we do, ooh, scandalous, and you see that girl right there, oh, I'm getting those digits. That's the kind of stuff we do like on regular. The coming home, being in church, I seen the light, all that kind of stuff. this is how we joke and kid when we're out there doing what we do. So they really gave us a lot of room to ad lib. And it was a great, I tell you, it was a great experience because, you're talking about working with a bunch of people that didn't know it was, to this day, it's still a hit. I still get people say, yo, I remember you, you were funny, yo, you fell out, look at you were drunk. So you never know what you're into until you do it, and it stands the test of time. So we were fortunate to have those roles. We were fortunate to be able to have that room that we needed to become what we wanted to make it. And I like I said though, they made 5 million and I made 5,000. But hey, what's
Hey,
in zero zeros?
yeah, what's a couple of zeros? But no, I got one because it just keeps flashing through my mind because I love those movies. I love what y'all did in the movies. You said you were slated to play Kid. Did you really know how to do the dance before you spun around and passed out?
No, it was because like so. And this is interesting because I still don't know. Like, that was going to be Kid's role, and I was going to play Play's role. And I'm like, saying, how would I have played that role? The suave one, blah blah blah. But when it came to the dance scene, we had practiced maybe about a week before. So it was us full force in terms of the music, Kid and Play, Tisha Campbell, AJ Johnson, and we like just worked this practice and worked and practice. And the thing was, okay, at the end you got to fall out. So that fall was like, okay, and I got to make it. I got to make it right. I got to make it right. So there was times like there was a lot of falls that I fell really. You had because you want action, and the running joke, the scene after I fall and they finish the dance scene. Play walks into the kitchen and trips and falls on me. Says, Groove, you're always drunk. You're always passing out. But the running joke was he kept on near me in my private spot on purpose. After the 15th time, I was like, I need it. I help. Cut. I need. Literally, but that's just some of the things that, we did, played and joked on the set.
So because obviously you're on the set. Y'all are supposed to be acting. Everybody's basically comedians at this part. You got all these hilarious people, especially Martin. And I remember watching the movie, and I just remember like waiting for Bilal to bump tables and stuff. How do y'all make? Because if I'm sitting over here watching, like, yep, he's gonna do it. He gonna do it. How do y'all maintain that composure, knowing that it's about to happen, and y'all have to keep the acting going?
In that moment, believe me, there was a lot of takes. There was a lot of takes. Like when Chill
I
would
can
bump the
imagine.
table, when they was at the door and they kept on banging on the door, and and a bunch of the guys would come to the door with full force there. A lot of takes, but a lot of, like I said, there was no egos. There was no egos. Yeah, Martin was budding to be this great comedian, but at that time, he was still growing and
Yep.
learning himself. So it was never, it was never like, look at him, look at us. Literally, we ended up most of the time we was hanging out in the extras pot because everybody was so cool.
Yep.
Everybody was really cool, and I think and it showed in the movie. I really do think that's why that movie resonates even to today, because that closeness, was truly there. Where now movies, you don't feel that bond, that vibe, and we had
Yep.
that vibe for real.
So speaking of that vibe, now knowing Kid and Play with the music scene, like you said, Tisha Campbell, Tashina Arnold, the amazing actresses that they are. You have Martin Lawrence coming up, comedian. Knowing where they are now and where they were when you met them back in Kid and Play days and watching House Party and all that, how are they then versus now and that same atmosphere, that vibe? Like, because people out here like me, the regular old me, we ain't rubbed elbows with celebrities like you have. So what's that difference? Like, do you see I know you see the growth, but how were they then and now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. So I always believe that money only brings a brighter light to who you are and what you are. So
Hold on,
the
that's
role
a
that
good one. Say that again for the
yeah,
people. Say
money shines the light on who you are and what you are. It doesn't change you. If you see me, if I got money, it's not gonna change my inside. If I'm a bad person, I'm just a rich bad person.
yeah.
And unfortunately that's the way it is. So to be honest, they're incredible people still to this day. busy, different day, eat off different plates now. But like Full Force and them, I keep in contact with them a lot. Um, you know, um, AJ Johnson, we just did a reunion about like last year, of 30 years of House Party. Everybody was there, and we were all on, the Zoom talking, saying, Groove, it's been a minute, hey, all that kind of stuff. So people are still the same, which is a good thing, because at the end of the day, you're hoping that the friends that you made 15, 20 years ago will still be your friends today. I think that's important.
Man, I like how you told us about that, the money shining a light on who you are. Because you hear the saying so many times that money changes you. And it's like, based on what you're saying, no, it's not changing you. It's just making a bigger light so people can focus on, oh, that's who you
Yeah,
really are. You didn't change.
for
That's who
real.
you were before. You just were broke at the time. And we know you said 5 million to 5,000,
Mhm,
missing some
mhm.
zeros, of course. But let's go back, because obviously you got that part and you're here now, and that didn't change you. So let's go back to before you got that part. What what was it that got Groove into music?
Whew, man. Okay, hold on tight. A very good friend. So a very good friend of mine when I was 13 years old moved from the Bronx. His name was Derwin Rumpf. We call him DL. And he brought mixed those tapes, the tapes. Shout out to Geechee Dan, Planet of the Tapes, Rock the Bells. That's my dude. But those tapes were like gold in New York. So he had a tape of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I remember listening to Dr. Jekyll, Andre Harrell, who 15, 20 years later signed me to his label. But when I was 13, I heard him top, I'm the JECKY double L, from the top of World Trade to the depths of hell. And I was like, what is this music? Oh my goodness, what is this? And I fell in love with hip hop. Rap, that was my, oh my goodness, I wanted to hear more and hear more. So we're going to speed up to 17, 18. I'm hanging out in Queens. I'm going to the Coliseum in Jamaica Avenue, and that's when Run DMC came out. And that's when you, in between that, I'm rapping, I'm going to street parties, I'm doing my thing, and now I say, oh, it's going on records now. So this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a record. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the person on that
Yeah.
record. And a very good friend of mine, James Smith, um, out in Long Island. He is Parrish Smith's PMD's older brother. So EPMD, we all lived in the same area. And James we would go to the Bronx and hang out with Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation and DJ Red Alert and Jazzy J and Soul Sonic Force. And when you're hit with all this kind of stuff, all this music, yeah, I went to school, but I didn't want to play sports anymore because I used to play football. I didn't want. All I wanted to do was write rhymes and get up on the mic and try to rock a crowd. That's all I wanted to do. And it was good because, like, when you have that kind of focus, when you're young, you can have that kind of focus. But as you get older, because then I went away to school, and I came back to New York, and I was going to be a police officer. Um,
Hold on,
but
hold on. Rapping to police
I know.
officer?
Yeah, yeah. It's a little different. So you're 19, 20, it's like, okay, I can't eat a rhyme. You gotta eat.
Yeah.
So, I was gonna be a police officer, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. That's not me. I give officers the most respect. Like, man, so it was hard. It's hard now. Back then, it was, woo. So
Hold on. Why was it so hard? Why?
I'll be honest with you. For me, I'm going to shoot first. I'll ask questions later. That's just
Oh, so
you know
you'll fit right into today's society.
you know. Bang bang.
I'm just saying, we calling it what it is. And you would fit right into
I
what we
fit
see
right in,
today.
right? It just wasn't me, and so I decided that I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go full force with this rap thing. So my man James Smith said, hey, you want to make a record? I said, of course I want to make a record. And it was we were called the Rock Squad, and it was on Tommy Boy label because of the relationship with Africa Bambaataa Soul Sonic Force. It was like, hey, Tommy Silverman, Monica Lynch said, hey, let them do this record. And this was my first experience in the studio, a real studio, doing a record. And what I learned, I think I took it with me because so at that time, the big sound, the sound of MCs was like the Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, Melly Mel, and all them. So we did this record, and it was called The Facts of Life. You know, everybody facts of life. We're gonna tell people, you know, what's the problem with the world today. And it was kind of, it was okay. It was okay. You know, it had a little boom bap to it. But we had producers that produced the record when we finished what we had. By the time we finished it, it became like this techno disco, and I'm like, what happened to our record? It was, you know, it was okay, but you know, I wasn't really feeling it because it wasn't the sound that, but you live and learn. So that sold like maybe two or three albums. We sold 2 or 3 albums. But I was bit. I was bit by the bug. I wanted to do more records, and that's how I ended up literally where I used to work. I ran and met with the guys that, you know, we created music with Groovy Chill.
So hold on, let's because you said a couple things. First, because one, I want everybody to understand, like when you said when you started, when you find what that passion is that drives you, it will eliminate all the distractions. Like you said, you're playing sports and you're like, no, that's not it. It's not like you found what you wanted to do to give back. And of course, we call it rocking the crowd, but that was where you connected with the people because not only did you feed off their energy, they fed off your energy, and you were able to give them something that at that moment in time they needed. Now, when you just said you went try the police, glad you switched that route because, like you said, we don't need anybody out there shoot first, ask questions later. Glad you didn't go that route. But then you said you started going the route of MCing. And so when that happens and you only sell that first 2 or 3 albums, and it's like, I know I made some fire. It didn't do what we think it was going to do. What keeps you going?
You know, when you're young, you make choices that, you know, some might not see your vision, your goal,
Hold on,
what
tell
you
them
want.
again.
They might not see it. They might not see it, and you have a lot of people saying, that you want to do what? Yeah, what? It was funny because I said this. I wanted to do an album. I wanted to do a movie, and at that time, I wanted to go to the Soul Train Music Awards because those were the, you know,
And this is after the 2 to 3 albums.
Exactly. That's what you know, you want to do that. So I felt that I had more to give. I knew I had something, and I tell you like this, I'm a true faith believer, and I truly believe that God has a path for you, and even though it's not like, you know, you know, me and the group, we ended up breaking up, you know what I mean? But there's a reason for that, and we don't know the reasons at the time. I still don't know the reasons. I might not never know the reasons, but I know there's a purpose for everything that happens.
Yes.
So I made sure that, you know, I said I didn't want to stop. I met these gentlemen in the next 2 towns over, and we clicked. We ended up clicking, um, working together, doing a record. And the funny thing was, we was going to call ourselves the Rock Squad because the Rock Squad was over, done with. My man James, he was a police officer. He went to the police. He went to the academy. He became a cop. But next thing I know, like, we're together, we're walking in the streets here, we're the Rock Squad. Hey, we're the Rock Squad. That's Daryl, that's Blau, I'm Groove, and we're the Rock Squad. Next thing we know, we see in Billboard, Rock Squad's getting ready to drop a record. How did that happen? So another lesson: if you don't own it, and I did not own it, you can't claim it.
Yeah.
So so we ended up having to regroup, rename, you know, the group to be where we are now, Groovy Chill. And we had this gentleman that was, I called him the boy wonder. Guy was like 14, 15, 16, making music in his basement, dope music. And he ended up working with some guys out in Queens who were connected to Andre Harrell, the guy that signed us to our album. He called us. They called us, said, hey, he heard your demo. He wants to meet you right now. We jumped in the car, made it like with 5 minutes left. We danced and sung in front of him for like 5 minutes. He said, okay, I'm signing you. We were the last ones to be signed. And the rest became history, as they say.
Man, I love how you said you walk by that faith, because it's a purpose for every single thing. And the reason that I love it so much, because you said that vision at that young age, and people don't understand it. And I want everybody don't miss what Groove is saying. people will not understand your vision because
No.
me and Groove are the same. As many of us out there, we walk by faith. When God had that meeting with you, he didn't invite everybody else. It wasn't a conference meeting. He was talking to you one-on-one. He gave you the vision. Throughout your walk in life, there are going to be times where people do not see or understand your vision. Now, there will be those that have that same faith walk as you, and they will walk side by side, that support system, that circle of friends, because they believe in you and that vision. But the vision is not for everybody. And then I want you to understand another thing that Groove said. When he was like, well, yeah, we only sold like 2-3 albums. But he was like, I was going to the source. He was going up there. He was going for the big boy league. Because when you are walking according to your path, your purpose, because you heard Groove say it himself, driven by that purpose, you're gonna make dreams so big that God has to intervene to make them happen. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can do anything extra. God has to come in and intervene. So for Groove, I'm with you on that faith walk. Now I have to ask.
Yes, sir.
I have to ask, since the name was already stolen, I won't say stolen, taken, and y'all couldn't walk around using it anymore. When y'all finally got signed, how did y'all develop the new name?
We sat around. That's funny because we sat around.
Don't tell me y'all wasn't outside like Motown was, y'all.
No.
Y'all wasn't out there like the
I'm
Temptations.
gonna say it like this: Uptown ended up being like Motown. Well, Uptown, that's a whole nother story. Because and don't get me wrong, I love Uptown MCA. It was the birth of so many, incredible. I'm gonna say the most pivotal moment in music history, based upon what we're still listening to today.
Yeah.
But at that time, when we got there, we didn't know what to call ourselves. The Rock Squad was taken. We were saying, well, we call ourselves. We're gonna no. I was tired of the squad thing scenario because squad is so. We were looking at names. What's the name? And, let's you call B, you're B, so that's like an action word. So it was first like, okay, chill, B groove, B groove, chill, and it was like groove, be chill. And then me, my name being first, I was like, I don't really want to say it because everybody thinks you got that ego, but it was, it just rolled off the tongue, and next thing you know, Ruby Chill, that was it. And like I said, when we got to Uptown, it was a fight. Everybody was fighting for a spot.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. You talking about 7, 8 MC groups want to be down, and the real talk was, the money play was Heavy D. Heavy D was the money play for real.
Can you blame it?
Hey,
Heavy D.
The business move. It's all business, nothing personal.
Heavy D, that was the man. RP, rest in peace.
And I remember them telling us, like, they didn't know how to market us. That was the going thing around there. And I remember, it's funny because when now you're getting older, and now you're letting, or you allow your ego or your emotions get into the way of creativity. And we literally, so we ended up, we didn't get a deal we did an album not on Uptown. Andre brokered a deal for us with A&M Records with his partner, Mr. Hyde, Alonzo Brown.
Oh wow.
So it was like, at that time, it was $250,000, I think $250,000, $300,000. That was big for a budget back then, for hip hop budget. And you got them A&M. That's when Janet Jackson was Control. That was a thing. So A&M was like, whoo. But they didn't know hip hop. They didn't know rap. They didn't know street. They didn't know Nathan. But here we are. For 6 months, we was in the studio. Nobody came. Nobody, no PR, no AR, no manage, nothing. We were in the studio sending stuff. And I remember, and this is a lesson that I take to this day. There was a new A&R guy. I think you heard him. His name was what's his name? Puffy. Yeah, Puffy.
Yeah.
And
Puffy.
Brand new. And Andre said, I want y'all to work with Puffy. Y'all need to work with Puffy because see, he's got these visions. Okay, we know Puffy. Okay, we'll talk to Puffy. And I remember him listening to maybe one or two of the songs that we did in the studio. And he said, you know what, guys, I don't really hear a hit. I don't know how to, he said, I want us to see if we can start from scratch. And I remember, and so now we mad because we wasn't on Uptown. We've been going back and forth to New York, late nights in the studio. No one's coming to check on us. Now all of a sudden you want to tell us to start from the drawing board. So I remember my DJ Bilal, we were getting in the elevator. He's like, man, we gonna do what we gonna do. Like, all right, that's the move. That's the move that we make. We made that choice. Now, in retrospect, at that time, Eagles was in our way. We're older, we're all this stuff versus, hey, let's give it a shot. You never know.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, so we ended up doing what we did, trying to manage ourselves or guide ourselves, getting bits and pieces and help from Uptown every now and then all of a sudden, the new face of Uptown comes. It's Father MC, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, so and Guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my hat's off to Teddy Riley, because I remember going to him. Andre had told us to go to Harlem, go to his apartment when he lived in his apartment in Harlem before he even was Teddy Riley. And I remember sitting with him and just listening to his music, and we ended up not collaborating, unfortunately. But that new, I guess, the coming of the guard came, so that's
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, Father MC Grammy nominated. And I'm like, where's my Grammy? What happened to us? We're feeling a little bitter now.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that you got to realize. When someone gives you criticism, doesn't mean you got to stop. Sometimes you got to listen.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to listen. Doesn't mean you have to change your thing, but just say, you know what, I appreciate that. Let's see if we can switch and change, and if not, it's okay. And I think that's the way that I try to live my life even to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I
There's a lot
get
of
it. And
people. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want nobody. I don't want anybody else to miss what you're saying, because I totally get it. Because we all are doing it. I'm guilty of it just as much as the next person. Because we talked about that focus, and sometimes that focus causes us to put blinders up.
Yep.
And when you put those blinders up, you aren't able to see those opportunities that are coming your direction, because they call it focus driven. You're on a straight line, like everything that comes, you're pushing it to the side, and you're not realizing that the way I like to refer to it, because everybody just about has heard the thing where they're like the guys in the water drowning. First, somebody comes by, tries to throw a life raft. Nah, God's gonna save me. Then a little boat comes by, and they're like, no, God's gonna save me. Then a yacht comes by, and they're like, nope, I'm waiting on God. Then he gets to heaven, and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? And it was like, I sent you 3 boats. Like, we get so focus driven. God is throwing us the help we need, and we're pushing it to the side because we want to do it according to our will, our way, and that's not how he works. You can't catch your blessings if your hands are always closed. So Groove, I understand exactly what you're saying, because yes, they call it hindsight instead of foresight for a reason.
Yeah.
Because back then, if you had foresight and you saw that you were finna be working with P. Diddy on the stage with the Teddy Rileys, the Mary J. Blige, that foresight would have said, you know what, P. Diddy, I'm finna go back in the studio and do what you say do. Matter of fact, Mary, you need me to rap over hood? Teddy, what you need from me? Exactly. But it's called hindsight for a reason, because we learn from that stuff that happened in the past. And now people like you, based on the things you learned in your past, are not able to help teach those of the next up and coming generation.
It is interesting because there was so many moments in my life that's brought me to this moment, into my new stage, a new platform. We went to did the movie. It was a great success, but the album was doing terrible. We went back to A&M and said, hey, we're ready to do a second album. And once again, they said, well, you guys need to do a demo. And us ego, oh, demo, we sign. We don't need no demo. We don't need no. And once again, that ego, that ego gets in the way. And they said, well, we got to call back. So, well, you know what? They're going to write this off as a tax loss. When y'all ready to do a demo, let me know. And that's when the brothers, we kind of got disenfranchised and separated. You know, B went to do his thing, Chill went to do his thing, and I went into this Great Depression, like literally, like wow. I was shaking hands with Sylvester Stallone. I remember seeing and meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger on the set, and I'm going to parties and I'm red carpet, and now I'm back home at my mother's house
Wow.
in a bathrobe. That's not as embarrassing for
Yeah.
real. And these are moments that I remember. Parrish Smith, PMD, came by my house, came by my mother's house. He said, "Listen, I want you to listen to this tape. See what you can bring it to blah blah blah, and see, we'd love to have you guide us." And they didn't know I was in this depressed state. They didn't know I didn't have those connections, or the connection I thought I had wasn't real connection. Like they didn't know, So, and next thing you know, well, EPMD is hip hop history.
Yep.
Um, when it came time to this most recently now, I met these bunch of guys that to me are the epitome of being humble but talented, and they got this thing, man, the New Jack Kings, and working with them was definitely God driven, but more importantly, when they asked me to be their manager.
Wow.
And so I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, boy, management, because I'm having flashbacks. Let's call it guidance. I'm gonna be a guide. Let's guide you.
I'm gonna just help you out.
But it was a blessing in disguise. And I said, you know what, God, if this is where you want me to be, this is what you want me to do. And it's been a blessing, working with these guys. They're incredible. They've kind of helped me get back my fire in terms of doing some things that I want to do and feel like doing. So, like I said, God has a purpose. Don't know what it is. You just go through it and go for it.
So I for those out there, because I'm happy, brother, that I never wish those depressive states, those time gaps in life on anybody. I'm glad that you were able to make it through that. We applaud you for that, and I want everybody to understand how that works. So I don't know. My mind works on analogies for stuff. Like you think about like sports. There's like halftime in football, basketball, like tennis has breaks in between matches. And like, even if you talk about, because we got movies and all that, if you watch like TV shows, like after they do like 8-10 episodes, there's a break in the season. Like they take those pauses. And I want you to understand, like, that's how general life works. Like sometimes I look at it as like God has you for a setback for a major comeback. So that moment where you had that break from when you were shaking hands and on the red carpet, sometimes he humbles us and we get humbled real fast. Some more than others. Everybody's life is different. But that was that break. That was your halftime. That was in between your seasons so that you can get ready for that next comeback. And so now that you're working back in music and these gentlemen came along and they asked you to be the manager, even though you're just like, no, I don't know about the manager. Like how did, because you said it ignited you. And the reason I'm asking this question is because somebody might have just went through it, or they're going through that halftime, that break in their life where like they're getting ready for that major comeback. How does it work because remember, we talked about blinders and you missed the opportunity. Now that you're coming back to get ready for this comeback, how are you more prepared from hindsight to get ready for foresight to have that ignite, that fuel ignited again like it did for you?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. So there was so all these years, I made excuses for not doing things that I should have done, could have done, would have done, based upon, and I would blame other people. I'm not doing TV because of this scenario or him. I'm not doing music because of him, them, whatever. And it came to a point maybe 3, 4 years ago. I started looking at the man in the mirror, And the man in the mirror, man, that's I use that to this day, because you can lie, you can say and put a fake face on, but when you look at that man in the mirror, you know the truth.
Man.
And I stopped blaming others for me not being where I wanted to be, and start saying, hey, if you want to be there, do it, whatever it is. So I went back to, I used to do voiceovers, and I lived in California. So let me go back. I did House Party 1, House Party 2, What's Love Got to Do with It, and Boomerang the movie. I started, and after that, I stopped, and I went to work and started living the life that you live. But I always, that passion was like, no, I don't want, voiceovers. I remember I did Pringles potato chips, I did honeycomb cereal, I did Coca-Cola, I did Toyota. My first year doing Pringles potato chips was a national. I made like 100 grand for like 5 hours of work in the studio. And it was great because, I didn't have to, it's something I could focus on, something I could do and create.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 years ago, I decided I wanted to get back into it, and there was no excuses. What do you need to do? And I did it. And I went to, there's a school that they call Ed Studios that kind of helps you and guides you. Did that, got coaches, built a demo. I stopped saying the reason why I am is because of my weight, because I'm bald, nah, just do it. Just do it. And that's the piece where, you know, when the New Jack Kings reached out to me, they have this song called Daydreaming. And they said, hey, Groove, we liked you in the movie. They saw me on my Instagram and Facebook, and would you like to be in our video? So if it was 4 years prior to this, I probably, no, I'm not going to do, no, I'm just going to stay in this lane. I
Yeah.
was like, dudes, whatever. Let's get it. Let's get it. And it was that step right there that really, I embarked on this journey with these guys. And then we started getting to know each other, going back and forth. I said, I want to do a record with you guys. So they they made a record. They created a record called Payday. And I went out to meet them. And I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm from New York. When you don't know people and you read the story, you're like, okay, now I don't know what I'm walking into. It's like, oh, I need to bring something, put a trace on my phone. You know what I'm saying? People like, okay. But I went to met them at Chemo's house, DJ Chemo, and I walked through the door, and it was so much love, so much, his significant other, his babies, they were the sweetest thing. Oh my goodness, I can't even explain it. It was my Christmas time when they around the Christmas tree putting it. I was like, oh Lord, this is wonderful. This is beautiful. It was crazy because I'm like, wow, this guy. And then B&A came later on, like maybe an hour later, and it was like these guys are the humblest, um, most heartfelt people and in this business is cutthroat.
Yeah.
Real cutthroat. And these guys were like, just wow, God, you got me here. And we went in the studio and recorded that day. And it was such a great feeling, that I knew I made the right decision to get involved.
Yeah.
And we've evolved from that. And I tell you this, I watch you, I follow you, and prior to me getting with my I'm calling the media
Yep.
guru, I was like, man, whoever he working with, man, he always out there. Woo, that boy good. Then Nicole Dalton, man, that girl, want to do something there. So I literally like picked up the phone, like, yo, Ernie, excuse me, I'm working with these guys, and I love to see. And like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yep. It
Everything.
does.
And just the fact that I'm here, talking to you is part of God's journey. Real
It
talk.
is.
Real
It
talk.
is. It comes full circle because it kind of goes back to what you were saying, and and I want everybody to catch this because you were saying the man in the mirror. Hey, we talking about music, so we got to stick with the music thing.
Yeah.
It's like because we all listen to Michael Jackson. You heard the song "Man in the Mirror," and the one part of that verse that everybody goes past is, "I'm asking him to change his way." Now we're sitting here. It's not just by chance, like you said. It's a purpose. I had to look in that same mirror and like, I got to make some changes, not just for me, for my family, my loved ones. Like it's other people that are depending on me.
Yep.
And one of my biggest things is I feel like it's disrespectful to the people that are dependent on you, and that care for you, the ones that support you, because I call it the outside looking in. They can see the greatness in you, and they're trying to push you. But if you're sitting there squandering it away, not only you're being disrespectful to God, throwing away the gift He gave you, and then on top of that, you're being disrespectful to the people that got your support. So you have to look in that mirror and ask Him to change your ways.
Very true.
And so you went from, we get it from the beginning. The music, you went to get away from it. You had to go back to it because you had to change some ways to get you back on track. But everything that happens, and I'm saying this because I don't want anybody to miss it, because there's somebody out there right now. Things and roadblocks and hurdles keep popping up. And instead of you like going around them, going over them, going through them, we just detour and turn around and go some different direction. And then we wonder why things aren't working the way they're supposed to, is because you're not going the direction that God gave you. The things that He did for you, or them detours and hurdles, those are those things that He was trying to pull those blinders off so you could see and get to the true calling. Because not only did you do music, now you're transitioned and you're helping others that are up and coming, managing, as you say, get their music journey going. So by being able to see all aspects of it, because we got YouTube today, we got all kinds of ways, Spotify, people just drop music on a regular basis.
Exactly.
From seeing every aspect of it, from the different aspects, because we know about musicians becoming actors and actresses, like starting out from the bottom, becoming a manager. What is that thing that you see that, or can say that person that's out there watching to help them get started to get their journey going?
I think the biggest piece, first you got to believe in yourself, obviously, because if you don't, everybody's in your ear telling you what to, not to, and everybody in the ear ain't for you. But more importantly, back in the day, it was about, you wanted to be on a label, you wanted to, shoot this huge video. There's so many. I got so many friends now. I'm gonna put it out there. So, Papoose did an album every month for a whole year.
Wow.
He dropped an album on a streaming app, TuneCore, every month. He was in hip hop earlier, fell back, honed his skills, dropped it every month. Now he's killing the game. He doesn't need a label. You don't need a label. We got YouTube, we got Instagram, we got TikTok. But you have to have a plan. You have to have consistency, and you got to have something, you have to have something that somebody wants. You got to be able to sell it. It's got to be something that people want. So the guys, New Jack Kings, I dubbed them that because their genre is New Jack Swing, and that's Teddy Riley. We were part of Uptown, New Jack Swing, that whole scenario, all of it. And when I heard the song, it was like, oh, that's what's up. And there's there's people that like 90s R&B and hip hop.
Yes.
And there's concerts out there, Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, Chubb Rock, they're all doing huge shows because they got this. So these guys got this thing, write songs, create music. And I'll tell you like this, I knew they were destined for greatness. When I first met them, they told me the story about how they literally, Fat Man Scoop is like the voice of the club. If you don't know, if you never heard of Fat Man Scoop,
I know who Fat Man Scoop is.
So he puts himself out and does ads, do drops. You're paying $500,000. He'll do some ads for you to help you do whatever you need to do. They sent him the song. When he sent it back, he did and remixed the song with him on it.
Oh, wow.
He didn't do drops. He remixed the song, and he spoke to them and said, listen, I like you guys. I like what you're doing. I want to work with you. I really want to see how you do, because what you on is a niche that people like to hear.
Yeah.
And right then I was like, oh God, that's God. Because, he didn't have to. He didn't have people want to be linked to people like him. Like, where they're at now, that's like 5 years from now, from steadily trying to grind and get your grind on. So, I knew they were destined for greatness. I heard it, I listened to them. They're very humble people, and it's dope. The music is dope. So that's
Man,
that's the thing you got to think about. You gotta have faith, and at the end of the day, a plan. I'm gonna do another plug for my man Usher Digital, because he allowed my vision to embrace this new age of social media.
yeah.
And now, literally, where the guys had no platform when we started, they got like 2,000 followers now, and that's just like
Wow.
in a month or two. You know what I mean? So they're doing the right things. We're doing the right things. And I say, if you continue to do the right things and really do it for other people to help them, you're gonna find your way.
You just you gave them so much right there, because everything you just said, for one, is putting the right people around you. Like, so many people think that you have to do everything on your own. And
Mhm.
that's so far from the truth. Like, I say it all the time, you can't get to the top. If you get to the top by yourself, that you mean you did it wrong, because you're supposed to take people with you. And
Yeah.
so when you got the right people, you heard Groove, he named so many different people that have not just around him, he's around them. Like, it's a circles within circles within circles. And they're networking, because show me your network, I'll show you your network. They're working and working and working together, and they're building this thing together. And when you're doing that, the right people just start entering your life, because Fat Man Scoop just don't get up off the couch and just go talk to anybody.
No, not at
So the
all.
right people enter into your life. And I want you to, because I don't want anybody to miss this, because I swear, like right now, New Jack Kings, they're working with Groove. That hindsight now has foresight. And when Fat Man Scoop comes in, he doesn't he talks to them so that they don't have that Groove mentality back when Groove Be Chill had Puff Daddy in the room.
Yeah,
See how that works, everybody? Like,
most
you
definitely.
keep helping the other person grow and grow and grow. And that's how you reach that success that we've been talking about all day. That's how
Very
you
true.
find your purpose. That's how you live your life according to your purpose, because you're driven by it. And Groove, you've been driven by it your whole life.
Yeah, man. Trying to anyway.
Now, I can't let this moment go, because it's so much stuff that I still want to peel back, because I know I'm gonna have to bring you on again. But
Okay.
until that time comes, how can people get in touch with Gene Groove Allen?
So a couple of ways you definitely want to check out IG, FB, just Gene Groove Allen. My website, www.genegrooveallen.com. Go to New Jack Kings on IG and TikTok. Follow them. We're getting ready to do some pop-up concerts in Atlanta City Boardwalk, Ocean City Boardwalk this month before school gets into play. We're trying to work on a HBCU kind of like a 90s theme college tour. We're getting ready to shoot some videos. So this month and next month is going to be very busy. So, spread the word. These guys are, and I say it not just because the music is good, the music is fun, but they're good people that really um, love their craft, love their audience, love their followers. So go to them, check them out. Talk to them. B&A Allen, DJ Chemo. I know you're out there. Whoop whoop. And check us out. Let us know. Matter of fact, right now there's we got two songs that we're trying to see, which one is the one to go for the next video. So let us know. It's going to be the Payday or Magic Touch. Magic Touch got the little flow. Got that magic touch. But that's what I'm saying. But
Now,
yeah, that's how you find us, and check us out.
man, I'm looking forward to it myself, because I know BNA already put it out there talking about Payday. So I can't wait to hear it, because
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to hear it myself. But I have to do it. I have to do it, because I do it to everybody that's on here. Before you go, what is that one nugget, that one piece of information, that in your sense, that one bar that you would drop on somebody that's like, I gotta make it? Because I normally say somebody that's trying to make it, but find that one person that's already grinding, but they feel like they keep hitting that wall. What's that one bar that you would tell that person? Keep going, don't give up, because you're that close to your blessing.
Mm, I think faith, faith, faith. I'm telling you, faith. When you don't think God is there. He's gonna give it to you. Maybe not like how you want it, but he hears you. And it's not be today. It might not be next week. Might not be a year from now, but it's coming. You just gotta believe. And you believe, move mountains.
Man, and you can't say it no better, because like you said with God, faith. I'm talking about God doesn't come when you want him, but he's always right on time. And all that, I was singing it in my head. And all that he asks of you is to have faith the size of a mustard seed.
Yeah, that's all you need. Amen.
Because what you're waiting for, I'm telling you, everything, all that hard work, all that grind, everything you need is right on the other side of hard. Everything that's hard to you now, those goals, those plans, that success that God has waiting for you is right on the other side of hard. Last time I checked, and Steve Harvey said it best, if you're going through hell, that ain't where you're supposed to stop. You got to keep going, because last time I checked, I don't want to stop in hell. Keep going, because you're going to come out on the other side. And that's all because you had that faith the side of the mustard seed. Man, Groove, you dropped some bars, some nuggets, all that on us tonight, brother.
Definitely, man. Whew. Thank you so much.
No, on behalf of everybody that's tuning in, everybody that's going to watch it later on, I got to say thank you on behalf of everybody for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come bless us with that knowledge and all the great things that you're doing, man. I wish nothing but success for you, New Jack Kings, and everybody that y'all touch. I want nothing but success for y'all, brother.
My brother, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your platform, your audience, man. You do incredible work out there. And I'd love, and I'm coming out to Texas, man, so we can hang out a little bit. When it's not too hot.
When it's not too hot.
Fair enough, brother. Fair enough.
Nah, but Groove, don't go nowhere. Stay with me, because I want to talk to you right after the show. So don't go anywhere. But again, brother, thank you for tuning in.
One love, baby. One
All
love.
right, brother. I'll see you on the other side. Man, I don't know about y'all, because I'm talking. Come on now, I'm an 80s baby. So we didn't have all the social media and stuff that's around today. You either went outside and played all day, or you sat in the house and did whatever, house chores or whatever. But it's one thing that no matter what you did, inside or out, it was some music always playing. And just understand that people like Groove had their fingerprint, that pulse. They were on the music. They were there. They had a part of the culture of some of the things that we listen to today. So just think about what you're sitting over there doing. Somebody out there right now, I think it's all of us, but somebody right there right now has their finger. They're pointing. It's on the pulse of whatever your gift is. And your gift is not just needed now more than ever. It's going to change somebody's life in the future. All because you started moving right now today and you heard Groove. Stop making excuses. Get out there and do what you have to do. And if you get lost sometimes, go look in that mirror. Because Michael Jackson said it best. It's time for you to make that change. Again, Groove was amazing. I can't wait till next week, because we're going to have another amazing guest on. But again, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for the next amazing guest. Thank y'all. I love y'all. And as always, I want you to continue to live in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose. I'll see y'all next week.
I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchange something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest. all those negative thoughts because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in the box. Society tries to put you in the box, but you can't be in the box. How can you be in the box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.